Aries, hello, hello, my loves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. We're going to do the best we can tonight, fire signs. I don't know what's going on with my phone, but it's jacked. So, Aries, we have the empty room and the dead end, the king, the stone, and the comic. Aries, I feel like, the empty room is just like that point of reflection, right? Like that moment where you are really just stopping and thinking, like, who am I? What is my goal here? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? How am I doing it? Just like really reflecting. It's real because I feel like you feel really stuck. You're just kind of like, ah, like like why is this happening? Why is this a struggle? Why this? Why this? I just feel like why whatever it is that you're dealing with, because why? You know what I mean? But I feel like you already know the answer, right? We already know the answers. We know what we're anchored in. We know what we really want. We know like the decisions that we want to make, because we know, like, when we come back to ourselves, we come back to the same spot every time, right? It's just kind of like, and if when I come back to the same spot, instead of asking why, like, why, I feel like being like, okay, why? Where are my blockages? How am I dealing with them? And are they necessarily blockages, or are they anchors? Because I feel like this has an idea of anchor, like I'm anchored in something. And if I'm anchored in something that I keep coming back to, that I keep, like I know that this is a thing, that this is something, you know what I mean? Like this is whatever it is that you like, you come back to yourself and you're like, when I come back to myself, this is what I know is supposed to be. And if I know in my soul that this is what is meant to be, how is it that I can remove the blockages that have existed in my life so that I'm no longer blocked off from my blessings? Because no, none of us want to be blocked off from our blessings. Big facts, right? Aries. What was your last read? Dealing with destructive energy or something like that? The Six of Wands, the Moon, the Two of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. Well, there's definitely a decision being made, a decision that is rooted in your intuition, right? Like when I come back down to me, what is it that I what is it that I see for myself? What is it that I see for my life inside? Right? Like how, like, pull that energy up, right? I just feel like this, okay, like if I feel protective of this energy to the point where I feel the need to keep it from everything and everyone around me, because I'm scared to death that somebody's gonna fuck my shit up. You know what I mean? like I don't, I don't trust. Right? There's just this sense of like I am having a really difficult time trusting other people, and because I have a hard time trusting other people, I find myself reaching a dead end, another one. And I just kind of feel like, well, because if you can't trust in other people can't trust in you, right? Because it's a give and take. I'm going to trust in somebody as much as they give me a reason to trust in them. And I hope that they would trust in me in as much as I would give them a reason to trust me, right? Like, even if I'm doing things that you don't like, if I'm at least communicating with you what I'm doing and acknowledging the fact that I'm doing it in opposition of what it is that you desire, then there's at least that, right? But I don't even know that that has even been a thing. I don't know. But I feel like however it plays out for you individually, like ultimately it comes back to us, right? Like it's like it always comes back to me, because I am in the process of experiencing this human experience in this life in this format. And so I feel like I haven't really been able to trust my intuition because I've had a blockage with trust. And trust is a really big thing, right? Because it takes a long time to build trust. It takes a second to break it, right? And if you're dealing with people who've broken your trust so many, like 10 times to Tuesday, like, and you just like anybody who comes at you with anything that really feels like you can't trust it, then, you're just immediately like, no, shoo shoo. Go in the direction that you were otherwise going in, please and thank you. You know what I mean? Like there's a sense of just really not even wanting to be bothered. But I feel like, again, this like rooting into your, like, where is my issue? Okay, we've all got issues, right? Nobody's perfect. That's not a thing, But yeah, well, perfection does look different to everyone. That's why perfect doesn't exist, because what's perfect to me isn't perfect to that person or isn't perfect to that person. That's why alignment is so important, because what's perfect to me, when I'm aligned with the right people, that will be perfect to them too. And if it's not perfect, there will be a manner in which we can communicate and move through it that doesn't feel like I'm bearing the responsibility of everything. You know what I mean? Because part of that trust issue is that, like, I'm the one who has to take care of everything. I'm the one who deals with all of the shit. I'm the one who's whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but it's because you've surrounded yourself with people, or you've allowed energies in that aren't trustworthy. And I think a lot of times that happens because I already know I can't trust you, so you can't break my trust. So we surround ourselves with people who we know aren't trustworthy because we know they'll break our trust. So there's no disappointment to occur. There's no challenge to overcome. There's no facing my own issues because I don't have to. I can just see yours and walk away. You know what I mean? Which is legit. And I get it, like no judgment. We're all in this together, But part of this, like, I feel like coming back to yourself is this, there's a sense of celebration because it does. I mean, the Queen of Wands is like a call to action. And like I was like rounding the troops, like it's time, it's time, it's time. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And I feel like even if you're just talking to spirit, you know what I mean? You're like, all right, y'all, it's time to get this shit rolling. Like it's time to go, like what's good, what's good, and, and you start to deal with those issues within yourself. Then I think you start to attract healthier people, attract people who you can trust, like engage in communities where you feel like, okay, okay, you know, because maybe it's just me. I don't know, but I don't think it is just me, but I just feel tense, like how do I got to start moving my body again because I'm just like, oh, how, like what happened? Like I got stuck in some encasement and I couldn't move. You know what I mean? And I share that because I feel like it resonates with you in the sense of like, if whatever this blockage is for you, which is probably trust because that's what's coming through, but whatever this blockage is, it's something that you've been like you've protected that blockage. You've utilized that blockage as a guard against other people fucking up your shit, whatever that is, whatever your stuff is, whether you're writing a book or you're creating a story or you're creating music or making art or practicing dance or like whatever, I don't know, whatever it is for you. I feel like you're starting to open yourself up again. You're starting to be like, okay, instead of being really protective and blocked off, that ends up blocking me off from my blessings. And so I need to release this tendency to fuck with people who I know are going to fuck me over, because I don't have to worry about any being let down. Like, you're not going to break my heart. I already knew you were an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, convenient, right? Why be a dumb bitch? Why put yourself around people who you know are going to treat you like shit? Why put yourself around people who you know are going to fail, who you know aren't going to live up to your expectations? You know what I mean? Like, that's just a really bad habit, right? We've all been there. We've all done it. We still do it. It's a thing, you know, like, that's why it's in the REITs. Okay. 5 of Wands, 7 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles, and 3 of Pentacles. Well, yes, because I feel like you have to part ways with people who leave you feeling like you're never gonna, like, I'm never gonna measure up for you. I'm never gonna be enough for you. I'm never gonna, you know, like, you can keep telling me to prove myself, improve myself, improve myself. I'm never gonna prove myself to you because I'm not aligned with you. If I was aligned with you, I wouldn't prove myself to you. You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't be a thing. And I just kind of feel like you know it because you have been working. And when you've been working in conjunction with people who don't work with you, who aren't aligned with you. You know what I mean? And so there's been this, like, inability to truly trust because you already know you set yourself up to be in a situation where you were dealing with people who you knew you were never going to trust. But isn't that convenient for you? Because you don't have to trust anybody. You don't have to deal with your own trust issues. But you've been working on it, right? You've been working on it diligently. Like, how do I learn to trust? You know, I mean, that's a very difficult thing to do. And I say that as somebody who really, truly, truly, like, that is a blockage that I myself have. You know what I mean? That is something that I still work through even to this day. I just don't trust people, you know? And so it's time to part ways with people who you don't, who you already know they're gonna, drag you through cycles. They're gonna make you feel like you need to prove yourself. They're gonna disregard every positive, good thing that you've done and leave you feeling dejected. And it's like, bitch, the whole reason you were even tolerating the presence of people who you didn't trust was because you didn't want to feel that way. Why are you doing that? Right? Revelations that we have along the way. So decisions that we make accordingly because we sat down with ourselves and we questioned it. We questioned why. Why? Aries. It's a good question. You know, no matter what you're dealing with, you should always ask why. If you're not asking why, you're probably making a mistake. The 5 of Wands, the 9 of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Knight of Swords. Well, it is kind of a different perspective to take on, you know, like, issues that we deal with and why we deal with them and how we deal with them, right? Because if I put myself in situations where I know I'm going to have to fight on behalf of myself, I'm going to have to fight for your attention, I'm going to have to fight for your approval, I'm going to have to fight for you to hear me or see me or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, putting ourselves in a, but we already knew what to expect. That was the comfort of it, is I don't have to worry about being disappointed by somebody who's already a disappointment to me. You know what I mean? Like, no worries. I don't have to face myself that way. I don't have to overcome my own demons and my own blockages that way. I can really start going in the directions that I need to go. And you see them differently because instead of seeing it as like, I'm already disappointed by this, I'm already, well, and that's how toxic cycles play themselves out, right? Because we recreate the scenarios in our life over and over and over again. And yes, I do think that with time, if they dissipate and they dwindle, right? Because, well, like, for example, doing this tarot channel, and I've been doing it for years, but motivated primarily by my family, you know what I mean? And my family was not healthy. It was not a healthy family. And I didn't, and it wasn't in a healthy community. And so I was absorbing and consuming all this really toxic energy and documenting it on YouTube because I wanted to make sure that, like, if anything ever happened to me, that, like, my kids could go back and they could at least have an understanding of the story as it unfolded, you know, in like real time. Sorry, I share that, but in having a channel where I'm cycling through this energy, I attract people who are in that energy, you know. But I don't have to deal with it in the same way that I had to deal with it, right? So it lessens, it dissipates, it dwindles. And it's easier for me to see in people that I don't give a fuck about than it is for me to see in people who I like have invested my life in. And so it's okay, pushing that energy out, right? Like, I've got to get all of that energy out and away from me. And once I've relieved myself from the nasties, then I can start dealing with my own trust issues, and I can start engaging in relationships and communities where I don't already feel like I'm disappointed. Like, I don't already, like, not want to be bothered. Now I can start to want to be bothered. When I start to want to be bothered, when I start to allow myself to be in a space of vulnerability, that's when those things pop up. That's when they rear their ugly head. That's when they say, oh, no, no, no. Like, we're still here. We're not ready to let go yet. And so you have to sit, you have to reflect. Where are these fears coming from? Where is this lack of trust? Where is this cycle? How has it played itself out? How has it repeated itself? And how have I been the captain of cycled energy that is trash energy? And how can I not do that anymore, right? But that means dealing with me and not dealing with other people, because, like, why? Because I think you started to see it through other people's eyes, and what a blessing. What a blessing. When people look at you and they see your pain and they hold your hand through it, and they don't look at you and see your pain and mock you for it and belittle you for it and criticize you for it, like they are absolute shit shows themselves. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, Aries, you're allowing yourself to exist in a space of vulnerability. You're allowing yourself to stop focusing on everyone else and start focusing on you, so that you can really tap into your vulnerability. Because I think what it's been has been a desire to avoid vulnerability, because vulnerability is scary as fuck. And yet it is the most healing thing on the face of the planet, you know? And Aries, I feel like you're figuring things out, but you're figuring things out in a different way this time, you know? And I love that. Aries, I hope this does resonate with you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, for sharing your energy with me, for listening to me blab about me. Because I don't want to just do this for other people anymore. You know, I want to do it for myself and allow that vulnerability so that I call in the right energy. You know, because I don't want to be in an energy of aggression. I don't want to be in an energy of comparison. I don't want to be in an energy of aggression. You know, I want to be in an energy of growth. I want to be in an energy of love. I want to be in an energy of revolution. People who aren't so petty and mindless that the only thing they can do is talk shit about other people. You know, like we need to elevate this energy, and I am just taking this opportunity to acknowledge, like, in my own journey, like where I've come from, what I am transitioning into, and the reason behind it, you know, because I've got a lot of people who've been here for a long time, and I just kind of feel like, you know, one, you know, thanks for being here when I was going through it. You know, for the ones who were here with good intentions, thank you, for walking through this journey with me, and for holding my hand through this too, because that means everything in the world to me. And you know, I feel very, very blessed to be where I'm at, and I'm very, very excited to, like, move forward with different energies and move forward with new rhetoric and new mindsets. So, you know, gratitude to my Aries out there who are going through this with me. I don't really have a lot of Aries in my chart, so, but you know, where I do have it, I know it, and I can tap into it, and I do understand it, and you know, Aries are of the warrior mentality, right? You're ruled by Mars, you know, it's like it's just in your nature to be aggressive. But aggression doesn't have to be destructive. It can be it can be a change that we need to happen, but people are too frightened to take that initiative, right? Like, it can be initiative, it can be motivation, it can be a beautiful thing to have that, like that energy, that like go do kind of energy, right? But sometimes we have to figure out the cycle that the energy was in so that we can change the cycle, so we're not cycling through the same energy over and over and over again. We're switching the cycle, we're changing the energy, we're creating a new story. I love it, Aries. Whatever it is that's happening, I feel like you're being given an opportunity to really feel safe, to genuinely engage with people or places or an opportunity or a community, whatever that one thing is for you. I feel like it's being offered to you, and you are just relieved and blessed. Right? I love it. Okay. I love y'all. Hope it resonated. If it did, please do give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.